So this weekend we have Fight Night, Paul Craig versus Brendan Allen. Just want to mention last card, almost got a clean sweep, but I did unfortunately pick Mackenzie Dern. I'm not gonna count that draw because it was a draw, so that's like just scrubbed off the record books. But and then obviously I got Tom Aspinall wrong. I picked Sergey Pavlovich, but then everything else I got every other fight right. So I'm feeling good about this card. There is a few fights I'm a bit iffy on, but yeah, at the end of the day, we'll see what happens, eh? But yeah, so let's get right into the card. We have the first fight of the night, which is a late notice fight for Lucas Alexander. He was originally meant to fight David Onama in the Brazilian card, so I guess you could say it's a long notice fight. I mean, it doesn't technically make sense, but he's had a longer camp. He's had a very long camp, and Jekka Saragi was meant to fight Jesse Butler. I thought that was a really good matchup for Jekka there. Like I thought he would have beat Jesse Butler, but now he's got Lucas Alexander. I'm not completely sold on Lucas Alexander. Let me just start off with saying that. I know he did beat Steven Peterson, who, has some decent wins, but the guy's very undisciplined. Steven Peterson, that is. Like, this is a guy who was a bantamweight, was missing weight at bantamweight, then was missing weight at featherweight, came in really out of shape against, who was his last? Yeah, well, Lucas Alexander, sorry, yeah, of course. And yeah, he retired afterwards. It was really weird. Apparently didn't train and everything. You can tell the guy always lacked a bit of discipline just because he was missing weight in almost fucking every fight. Like moves up a weight class, then starts missing weight even more. Like that if that doesn't tell you that the guy lacks a bit of discipline, I don't know what else would. But yeah, in my opinion, definitely lacked a lot of discipline, but still very good performance from Lucas Alexander in that fight. You can't hold uh, Steven Peterson being undisciplined against him. Got ran through by Johannes Brito, but Brito is super underrated fighter in my opinion. Super underrated. Guy's fucking very aggressive, very powerful guy, and he has a win over Diego Lopez, who everybody is in love with at the moment. So, and who is actually a very good fighter as well, not just like a hype job. He actually is like Diego Lopez is generally very good, and Johannes and Brito beat this guy, so you can't really hold Lucas Alexander losing to him too much. But and also, Jekka Saragi looked really good on Road to UFC. I was thinking he was going to win the whole thing, but then he went out there and got mauled by Anshul Jubli. And, Jubli didn't look horrible in his last fight in the first 2 rounds, but then he did get finished. So, stylistically, that doesn't really change much. But what I did know is that Jekka Saragi doesn't have very good takedown defense. And, you know, Lucas Alexander's from Brazil. The regional Brazilian MMA is very high level. I think he is a decent fighter. I think I can just see him going in there and winning with a grappling heavy game plan here. If he keeps his fight striking, I actually generally think Jekka Saragi has a very good shot here. But I do think Lucas Alexander will see how much success Anshul Jubli had with the ground and pound and the takedowns, and I think he'll go in there with a grappling heavy game plan and probably get Jekka Saragi out of there or win a decision just using his grappling. But who knows? I think this is the first time Jekka Saragi's ever fought at featherweight. Maybe this will be like a mythical fighter. Maybe he'll be a lot more suited for this weight class than the lightweight division. But yeah, a lot of questions about this fight. Like generally, this one has a lot of questions. I would like to see Jekka Saraki get the win here, just because he is an Indonesian, the first Indonesian fighter, and that is a big market. Like there is a lot of fighters coming out of there. Bali MMA is a really big gym that a lot of Australian fighters actually fight out of and train and coach and everything. Like it's a very good gym there. And there's quite a lot of fighters coming out of Bali MMA. I can't remember anyone off the top of my head, unfortunately, but I know there is a few fighters on the Australian regional scene who go there and do some camps there and everything. Like, apparently a very good gym, so I don't think Jekka trains at the Bali gym or anything like that, but I'm just mentioning, like, there is a lot of fighters who are going to Indonesia to train and everything, so I think eventually Indonesia is going to be like an MMA hotbed, if it's not already. They put on some crazy cards there as well. I remember watching one. It was like a little Filipino guy versus like this Iranian dude with all these tattoos, and like the Iranian dude looks fucking scary, and actually went out there and got mauled. I'm pretty sure he's disrespectful at the weigh-ins as well, so it was sort of like it was very reminiscent of Ben Nugent versus that wife beater, the guy with all the tattoos, the bully, the Jackal. His nickname is the Jackal. Really reminded me of that, except instead of knocking him out, he just sort of laid on top of him and ground and pounded him for 3 rounds, if I remember correctly. But still, like I say, I'd like Jackie Sarri to get this one done, but I don't think he's going to get this one done here. I think he is probably just going to get grounded out here. And yeah, I'm going to go with Lucas Alexander getting this one done by decision. Then moving on up the card, we have Charles Johnson versus Rafael Estevan. Now this one's very interesting because I literally just before making this video, I had to go and watch Rafael Estevan because I was thinking maybe I'll go with Charles Johnson. But after watching the tape, I gotta go with Rafael Estevan. I don't even remember watching this guy fight. I definitely did watch his fight though, because I'm pretty sure that was the same card with Jack Jenkins and Bo Nickel were on, if I'm remembering correctly. I'm pretty sure it was week 10, right? Oh fuck. Let me check. Because it was 2022. Yeah, it was the same card. I can't believe I can't remember that. I generally don't remember him fighting. But I went and rewatched it. Looked really good. Really, really good. Really good ground and pound. Survived all the submission attempts in that fight. So I won't lie, that was the only fight I've watched of him, but he does seem to be very good with ground and pound. Didn't really see much of his striking, but he does have a KO win with the hands, but I don't think that'll be his path to victory here. Charles Johnson, very good anti-grappler. Anti-wrestling is very good. Against Muhammad Mokaev, it looked really good. He still got taken down a bunch of times, but he does get back to his feet a lot. But I feel like if Estevan does get you down, he is just going to destroy you on the ground. He is not like a position guy. He's not a guy who's going to go in there and lay and pray. He seems to really go in there and inflict damage. And I think I can see him just doing that here. I don't know if he'll finish Charles Johnson. I think he might get a decision here just because Charles Johnson is very tough and he is a very good anti-grappler. He can find ways not to really get any offense given to him on the ground. But he's not very powerful, so I don't think he can go out there and KO Estevan. If that being the case, I can just see this being a fight where, Estevan gets him down, does a bit of damage. Maybe Charles Johnson gets back up, but, he can't really get too much damage off on the feet. And then, Estevan gets a clear win here. So I'm going to take Rafael Estevan. I'm actually very impressed with what I watched of him on Dana White Contender Series. I know it's only Dana White Contender Series, so it doesn't really say too much. But, yeah, I liked what I seen out of Estevan here. And if he wins, that's another undefeated flyweight to add to the mix. There is so many fucking great up-and-coming flyweights. Like, it's generally a very exciting time for the flyweight division. And, yeah, I can't wait to see what's next for the flyweight division. There's so many good prospects coming up. But, yeah, like I say, I'm going to take Rafael Estevan here. But it is a worrying pick just because Charles Johnson, very good anti-grappling. But I don't really know much about Estevan's chin at all, but I don't think Charles Johnson's very powerful, so I think he should be alright here. Then moving on, we have Chad Anheliger versus Jose Johnson. Now this one's a very interesting fight. Chad Anheliger coming off that fight with Alihang Alateng, where he was coming on strong in the third round, if I remember in that one correctly. Almost won it, but it was a little too late. If I'm thinking of the right fight. Actually, I might be thinking of the guy who fought I might be thinking of Jay Perrin versus another Mongolian fighter, actually. I can't remember really, man, but I know Chad Anheliger is very tough, but I think Jose Johnson's going to get this one done. He's a long guy for the weight class. I know he did lose to Damon Blackshear, but it's fucking Damon Blackshear. The guy is generally very good. Arguably beat Mario Batista, so I'm not going to use that loss against him. Plus, it was short notice for him as well, so and Jack Cartwright is a decent win. Horrible fight. That fight was really bad, but it was still a good win to have. Uh, and, he's fought a lot of guys. Not the greatest guy. Like, he's fought good guys, but he's lost to some pretty bad guys as well. Crazy if you go and look at his amateur record. That at one point in time he was literally fucking 1-6, 1-6, and now he's in the UFC. Always go for your dreams. Never give up. Just never fucking give up, and you'll fucking make it eventually. He went from 1-6 to 8-6. Like, that is fucking crazy to see, actually. Like, generally crazy. But anyway, getting back onto the point, I'm going to be taking Jose Johnson here. I think he can really just use his length. He is actually a striker that, you see a lot of grappling in that fight against Jay Cartwright, but he is primarily a striker. And I think he'll be able to get the win here. Not super confident on this. I feel like Chad, and his name's literally Chad. You don't want to fuck with the Chads. So maybe Chad can go in there, get a win here, but I'm gonna take Jose Johnson here. I'm not super confident on it, but I trust him to get this one done. But this is a very close fight. No, this is not this is not me a give me or anything here. Then we have Jonathan Pierce versus Joe Henderson Brito. Everyone seems to be going with Pierce here, and I do understand why. He's a long fighter. He's a good wrestler and everything. Built sort of similar to Bill Algeo, but sorry about that. The difference though is Brito's actually got a reach advantage here. I know it's crazy. Like, I know Pierce is a long guy and everything, but Brito's got the reach advantage. He's very powerful. Jonathan Pierce, did get TKO'd by Joe Losian, but that was ages ago. But this might be a hot take. I'm actually going to take Joe Henderson Brito. I think he's so underrated. Like, this guy's generally very good. I know I could be wrong here, and he just, he goes out there and replicates Bill Algeo's game plan, but I don't know. I think Joe Henderson Brito is generally a very good fighter. Very good fighter, fucking very aggressive fighter. I can see him clipping and probably KOing Jonathan Pierce. Like, this guy, we all seen how tough Shepe Mariscal is. We've seen how many bombs and everything he took from Trevor Peak. Like, just Trevor Peak landed so many flush bombs on his chin that barely rocked him. Joe Henderson Brito gave this guy one of the worst knockouts you'll ever see. Like, a brutal, brutal KO. This guy's KO power is insane, especially for a featherweight. Not many featherweights go in there and get flatline KO'd. Featherweight might be the division with the lowest finishing rate, men's division. I could be wrong in that, but you don't really see many crazy finishes at featherweight. We don't really see many flatline KOs. Maybe in a title fight or a main event of a Fighnight, but most of the time with main events, featherweight main events, they're normally just long wars that go to a decision. Maybe it just speaks to everyone having a great chin in that division, or maybe it just means the finishing potential just isn't in the featherweight division like the other divisions. But Joe Henderson Brito has finishing potential for days. He doesn't go in there and win decisions. He goes in there and he knocks people out, he chokes people out, he goes out there aggressive, wraps up submissions. He could wrap up a submission here on Jonathan Pierce. Like, I feel like Pierce is like a tough stylistic matchup for him, but at the same time, man, fucking Joe Henderson Brito is just built a bit different. He very aggressive, and I can just see him clipping and maybe clubbing, subbing Jonathan Pierce here, but I am going to take Joe Henderson Brito. I believe he's an underdog as well. It's always worth betting on Joe Henderson Brito when he's an underdog because he is fucking pretty good, man. He is generally very good, very aggressive fighter, like I said. And if he wins, you got to give him that Dan Ige fight because he won't stop calling out Dan Ige. I don't know what Dan Ige did. Must have killed his dog or something by accident because he really wants to fight Dan Ige. So, makes all the fucking sense in the world. Give the guy what he wants. Give him give him fucking Dan Ige, just give the man what he wants. But yeah, I am going to take Joe Henderson Brito here. And then moving on, we have Mick Parkin versus Caio Machado. I know it's heavyweight and anything can happen in heavyweight, but I'm just going to straight up say who I'm picking. I'm going with Mick Park, and I'm very confident in this pick. I don't think Kai Machado was very good, if we're being honest. His last fight was fucking awful. He didn't look very good. I remember thinking he didn't deserve a contract. He ended up getting one anyway because, Dana was very trigger happy, especially with the heavyweights, except for that boring guy who trained with Almeida. He didn't get one. But outside of that, he didn't. Kai Machado just didn't look very good in his fight. And Mick Parkin, you know what? I know he's a fat heavyweight, and fat heavyweights have a reputation for all being bad, and you just have to be muscular and everything to be ranked. But Mick Parkin is actually a very good fighter, very good technique. The one thing is he has fought a lot of cans, but against Jamal Pogues, he looked really good. He's got very good kicks, very good leg kicks. He fights very smart, very defensively sound. And I think he's just going to chop up the legs of Machado and then probably get him out of there. I really do like Mick Parkin. I think he's actually very good. And he trains with the interim champion as well, Tom Aspinall. So, a very good training partner to have. And especially with Tom Aspinall going in there and winning, he's going to have all the confidence in his team here. And I think Mick Parkin probably gets like a second round TKO. Machado's cardio is not like the greatest or anything. So, yeah, I'm gonna go with Mick Parkin. I think he's generally a very good fighter. Oh, and then we have a fight. Lucy Pudavalo versus Aline Perez. Interesting fight, I guess. Fuck, I don't even know, man. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Pick a woman's fighter by their toe. Lucy, Aline, Perez, Paduva, Perez, Pavuna. I'm going to go with... Why the fuck is Alien Perez's nickname Nurmagomedov? What the fuck? I think her Tapology photo might be a little haram. But anyway, I'll go with Alien Perez. Yeah, that's it. Alright, moving on to the next fight of the night. We have Nicholas Motta versus Trey Ogden. I'm going to be taking... Trey Ogden is very tricky. He's a very tricky fighter. Like, we've seen him just sort of frustrate Daniel Zellhuber in their fight. Man, this is an interesting fight. Everybody seems to have gone with Ogden in this fight. I'm not going to base this fight on betting odds or anything like that, but Ogden's never got a KO. That is something interesting. He's a very good grappler, but he's not got any KOs. And if you look at Motta's losses, I guess he has been subbed. He got subbed on the Ultimate Fighter. Then KO, 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 KO. But, he hasn't been subbed since 2015 on the Ultimate Fighter. This might be I'm not super confident on this pick, but I'm going to go with Nicholas Motta. I feel like because he doesn't have to worry about a KO for it, because he doesn't have the greatest chin, I think we're going to see him very, very aggressive in this fight, and I think he can knock out Trey Ogden or just win with the aggression. So this is a tough pick. It's not a confident pick by any means, but I am going to take Nicholas Motta here. I do just think because he's so powerful, he's very aggressive. I think that's going to work to his advantage here against Trey Ogden. When you don't have a threat on the feet, it's gonna really benefit Nicholas Motta here. He's gonna really go out there aggressively, try and take Trey Ogden's head off. Maybe Trey Ogden can catch him with something, but I don't know. This is a guy who wasn't really doing too good. Well, no, he wasn't doing bad, but he wasn't going out there and like beating the shit out of Jordan Levitt on the feet either. So yeah, I'm actually gonna take Nicholas Motta here. I think he'll get this one done. Then we have Cesar Almeida versus Christian Leroy Duncan. Very, very interesting fight. I wish we didn't get this fight, if I'm being honest. Like, I really wanted Cesar Almeida to have like a decent run, not just lose his like debut or something like that. And he could still be a pretty good fighter, it's middleweight. One loss doesn't really define you in this division. It's one of those, it's generally the fucking weirdest division. Anything can happen in middleweight. But I'm going to take Christian Leroy Duncan. I think he can really offensively wrestle to a victory here, not just because Cesar Almeida is a kickboxer. His grappling did look very good against Lucas Fernandez, or Fernando. Was that his name? Sorry, let me just double check that. I think it was Lucas Fernandez, though, if I'm remembering his name correctly. Lucas Fernando, yeah. So Lucas Fernando, he looked very good in that fight. Showed off very good grappling, very good takedown defense. Is getting on top positions, reversing positions, stuff like that. Like his grappling looks really legit. But Christian Leroy Duncan has a very, very long amateur career, and we've seen him offensively wrestle. He's got a few submission wins. I think if he fights very smart here, even with his striking, I think he can have some success. He is a very good striker. He's a lot better than he showed in that Armin Petrosian fight. Like he generally is. He is a lot better than that Armin Petrosian performance. But yeah, that was a really weird performance from Leroy Duncan. I don't know. He went a bit crazy in that fight, like throwing really weird, like spinning attacks and going just a bit, trying to be a bit too flashy in that fight. It was a weird look for Leroy Duncan in there because normally he fights very smart, doesn't go too crazy. I think maybe the nerves got to him a little bit. That was his first fight in the States. Uh, you know, and I think there was a few factors in it, but yeah, just that was a very weird look from Leroy Duncan. But I think we're gonna see I think he's gonna fight a lot smarter in this fight, and I think we're gonna get a really good Christian Leroy Duncan performance here. But Almeida is very dangerous. He is a very dangerous fighter, very powerful. Got a really good chin if you go watch his kickboxing fights. Got a granite ass jaw on him. So I don't think Leroy Duncan will finish this unless it's a submission. So I'm gonna go decision, but I think it's gonna be a really good performance, and I think Christian Leroy Duncan will build some hype back on his name because he's still very young, especially for the middleweight division. So I'm not off the Leroy Duncan train just yet. But we'll see how this fight goes against Almeida. But yeah, I'm gonna take CLD here for the win. Then we have Uros Medic versus Johnny Parsons in the welterweight division. Very interesting fight. We got Uros Medic moving up from lightweight. He did that his last fight against Matthew Semmelsberger. Looked really good, especially with it being high altitude. Knocking out Matthew Semmelsberger is a very big feather on his cap because Matthew Semmelsberger has a granite jaw and he went out there and finished him and looked very good in that fight. And Matthew Semmelsberger, very dangerous fighter, very powerful. So, we know Uros Medic has a chin at welterweight because he took some bombs. I think he might have got dropped briefly by Semmelsberger, but, he still recovered and everything. And Johnny Parsons is a lightweight-sized guy who, missed weight briefly and then he, came in and weighed back again. But he struggled to make the welterweight limit, which is really bad because this guy is lightweight-sized. But he's fighting at welterweight and he fought at middleweight and I think even light heavyweight. Not the greatest discipline from him if we're being honest. But fun fighter. He is a very fun fighter. I don't think he's going to be anything crazy. I don't think we'll be seeing Johnny Parsons versus fucking Shavkat Rakhmonov or Johnny Parsons versus fucking Leon Edwards anytime soon. But he's a very fun action fighter, very good fighter. But I got to go with Uros Medic here. I think he's going to get this one done. I don't rate a fucking win over Danny Roberts, but I do rate a win over Matthew Semmelsberger. The Solomon Renfro fight, arguably Johnny Parsons shouldn't have won that. He just fucking shouldn't have. He got dropped in that fight and then arguably lost another round, but they somehow gave it to Johnny Parsons 29-28. I don't know how. Generally, that was a weird decision in my opinion, but still, he's a fun fighter, but he went to fucking war with Danny Roberts. And, Danny Roberts, what is Danny Roberts' kryptonite? The chin. And he was fucking, he wasn't going out there and flatlining him straight away. He did end up finishing him, but Danny Roberts was fucking putting it on him. And, it was a very, very fun fight between them. I think that's the sort of fights we're going to see out of Johnny Parsons, which I'm all for it. I fucking love wars. But I think Uros Medic, much better fighter, taller, longer. Is he longer? Actually, might not be longer, actually. I think he has a pretty small reach for his height. But he's going to be much taller, Okay, yeah, he's still got a longer reach. 69-inch reach for fucking welterweight is very rough. from Johnny Parsons. But yeah, I'm going to take Urus Medic here. I just think he's a very smart fighter. I can see him getting a victory here, and very powerful as well. I could see him knocking out Johnny Parsons, I know he's got a Muay Thai background, he's a tough guy, but Urus Medic is very, very good in my opinion. I think Urus Medic can actually make a run in the welterweight division. He doesn't have that big weight cut hurting him or anything, and yeah, I'm going to take Urus Medic here, but I think this is going to be probably fight of the night. This fight should be really fun in my opinion. Then we have Amanda Rimbos versus Luana Pinheiro. Trying to remember which one is. Oh, she's the one who beat Michelle Waterson, beat Sam Hughes, beat Randa Marcos. Fuck, man, I don't even know. She's Oh no, she's not undefeated. 11-1. I can't even remember anything about her. Amanda Rebos is coming off that loss to Macy Barber. Well, looking at Amanda Rebos' career, armbar victory over Paige Van Zandt, loses to Maria Rodriguez, then beats Verna Jandaroba, loses to Caitlin Chukagian, then she beats Vivian Harlow, then loses to Macy Barber. So following the trend, I'm gonna go with Amanda Ribas getting this one done. That's it. That's my analysis on that fight. So moving on to the next fight, we have Peyton Talbot versus Nick Aquir. Oh God. I'm not saying he's a queer. I mean, his name is Nick Aguirre. My apologies there. I don't know what his sexual orientation is. But anyway, moving on. So, he came in, lost to Dan Arqueta. He is a grappler. Is Nick Aguirre, I think. That's how you say it. I don't know. He's a grappler. Did win a grappling match against Nick Fox a couple months ago this year. But Peyton Talbot is a very, very fun fighter, very good fighter. I generally think this guy's got a very high ceiling. He looked really good against Reyes Cortez. And he has some solid wins on his record with 8-1 opponent, 5-3, 4-2, 1-0. Then he's got a very decent amateur career, beat a 4-0 opponent, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0. Yeah, he's actually really good. Really fucking good. Very fun style, very reminiscent of Sean O'Malley with his style. Very long for the bantamweight division, 70-inch reach, which you don't see many. I mean, fucking Nick has a fucking 74-inch reach, so Jesus Christ, he's got a very long reach here. But he is a grappler. I mean, I don't think Nick is a bad fighter by any means. Like, they did can crush a little bit, 0-2, 1-1, 0-2, 1-1, 0-0, 2-1, and then beat a 4-2 guy, and then lost to Dan Argueta. And then he's got an amateur career as well, 0-1, 1-0, 0-1, 1-1, 7-5, 4-2. So, just a bit of can crushing by Slick Nick Aguirre. But I am going to take Peyton Talbot. I think he is generally a very good talent. He might get taken down here, but he did show some good takedown defense, some good get-ups against Reyes Cortez. And he's got very good cardio, so even if he does go out there get wrestled a bit, I could see a scenario where he gets wrestled a bit, but then he gets up a bunch, tires out Nick Aguirre, and then in the third round he maybe puts it on him and gets him out of there, or even gets a 10-8 and makes it a draw. He has very good cardio, and a lot of his finishes do come later, so I could see a scenario where that does happen in this very fight, where he's down, he keeps getting taken down, and then, he keeps bouncing up, but the rounds are getting past him, but then, I could just see him getting a fucking KO just from, exhausting. He's got very good pace, very good volume, and I could generally see that scenario in my head, but I think he might be able to get him out of there quicker, but I don't know. It's an interesting fight. I don't think it's as clear cut as people think it is, but I'm going to go with Peyton Talbot because I think he has a very bright future. So I'm going with Peyton Talbot here to get this one done. I'm going to go by a second round TKO. Then moving on, we got the fight between the meanest motherfuckers. Sorry, the zestiest motherfuckers. We got Jordan Levitt versus Chase Hooper. Very interesting fight. fight I'm not gonna lie, one of the fights I'm most looking forward to because this is just gonna be funny as fuck. Uh, I'm gonna be taking Chase Hooper, man. Now I know he's very inconsistent. He could just go out there and get starched because he looked really good against Felipe Colares, and then he just went out there and got fucking absolutely smoked by Steve Garcia. Like it was fucking horrible. Dropped 3 times. He looked fucked after that fight. Like Jesus Christ, he took a lot of fucking damage in that. But he looked really good against Nick Furo. Looks really good at lightweight, and arguably, not even arguably, definitely beat Nick Furo better than Mateusz Rebecki, which is fucking insane to say because Mateusz Rebecki, looking really good in his fights. But yeah, I'm gonna take Chase Hooper here, man. I generally think he can get this one done. Jordan Levitt got to finish his last fight like a TKO on the feet. So they've both improved their striking, but Chase Hooper's got some good pace, some good cardio. And I don't know. I think he can go out there and sort of just piece up Jordan Levitt. He's very long. Been training with Wonderboy for a lot of camps now. His striking does keep him does keep improving more and more. And he's got very good grappling as well. And I think he can just sort of piece up Jordan Levitt. I think this fight's going to be on the feet. I could be wrong. Maybe Jordan Levitt does have a bit of a wrestling edge, but I'd say Chase Hooper got a bit of a jiu-jitsu edge, so maybe he'll just stay on the feet. And I think Chase Hooper's cardio and pace is a bit better than Jordan Levitt's, and I could generally see him going out there and getting a really good performance here, and building a bit of a streak. Chase Hooper's still so fucking young, man. He's like what, 24 years old? Like he's still very fucking young. Like, he's been in the UFC for like 5 years now, but he's still very very young, and he is still improving. And I think he is going to get this fight done here. Well, I think it's going to be a decision, though. I think he'll get a decision here, but I think it'll be a dominant decision. Maybe Levitt gets him down for a brief period, and maybe one of the judges will give it to Jordan Levitt, give that round to Jordan Levitt. But I think Chase Hooper is going to do the more damage here on the feet. And yeah, I think this is actually going to be a fun fight, but I could be wrong. It could just be a Jordan Levitt just sits on top of him, and Chase Hooper is just trying to like fucking play defensive on his guard or something, and it's just a horrible fight to see. But who knows? But I am going to go with Chase Hooper here. Now we got a fight in the welterweight division in the co-main event between the Celtic Kid, Jake Matthews, and Michael Morales. This is an interesting matchup. Interesting matchup in my opinion. Michael Morales, very, very big for this weight class. I don't know how he makes welterweight. He is eventually going to have to move up to middleweight. I'm very, very sure of that. Jake Matthews, he looked good against Darius Flowers, but it is Darius Flowers. Respect to him, but he took it on short notice. But yeah, like Jake Matthews looked good in that fight, but Michael Morales is a bit better than Darius Flowers, in my humble opinion. And Michael Morales got a really good win over Max Griffin. Max Griffin, very tough. Took a beating in that fight. He has shown some fight IQ errors, like... Actually, no, I'm thinking of it the wrong way, actually. Trevin Giles is the one who showed a low fight IQ. But, his chin has been shown. He has been rocked before by Trevin Giles. Trevin Giles got him hit perfectly. And I feel like really could have got a TKO or at least put some damage on Michael Morales, but made a big mistake and tried to wrestle Michael Morales, who has very good takedown defense. He's got very strong hips, very strong base, very long for the weight class, 79-inch reach, very long. He's striking decent, but I don't know, it's a bit worrisome because he does leave his chin out and everything. And I actually think Jake Matthews does have the striking advantage in this fight. Like, I think he is maybe the better striker here. Not as long, but I could see him having some success with his boxing. But unfortunately, I'm going to have to go with Michael Morales just because he does have a big wrestling edge. In that Darius Flowers fight, we did see Jake Matthews get held down a bit. And Darius Flowers is a lightweight. Michael Morales is a massive welterweight, and he was like a wrestling champion in Ecuador, and we have seen him offensively wrestle. He does have some good wrestling. Like, he wrestled Nikolai, was his name Nikolai, the Kazakh fighter that he fought on Dana White Contender Series. Like, he just wrestled his way to dominantly wrestled, and I think that will be his game plan here because Jake Matthews' takedown defense is a bit sus at times. It was Nikolai Vetekenov. I fucking butchered that one definitely, but yeah, he generally showed a very good fight IQ in that fight. You know, like I said, just wrestled him, showed he's got a really good wrestling base and everything. And I think that will be his path to victory here against Jake Matthews. You know, I'd be surprised if we don't see him going in there, wrestle heavy. Maybe he could win on the feet, don't get me wrong. He could catch Jake with a strike or something. But I think overall, Jake does have a really good boxing. So I think he could probably be the better striker in this fight. You know, Morales is long, though, so he could maybe catch him with some sneaky shots. Like, Jake Matthews is a dog, a live dog in this fight. He's definitely got a shot. We've seen that some of these, like, veterans, you know, are coming back and, like, beating some of these newcomers. Like, we've seen Nicholas Dowie go in there and break uh, Gabriel Bonfim. So, like, anything's fucking possible. Like, and then we've seen Renat Fakredinov almost get KO'd by Zaleski dos Santos. So maybe the veterans are going to keep on with their streaks here. But I have to pick Michael Morales. Very good wrestling. And if he doesn't wrestle, though, if he doesn't wrestle or if Jake Matthews' like takedown defense has improved, you know, he did convert to Islam. You know, Muslims, very good takedown defense from Muslim fighters. And I did see he was training with Zairua Tukranov, you know, the Chechen guy who's a part of Habib's crew. And, you know, I'm sure he's been working a lot on his wrestling. And with the conversion to Islam, he's not going to be drinking or doing all the stuff that he used to do when he was, you know, not Muslim. So maybe he's going to be a bit more motivated, more dedicated on focusing on his holes because there's not really much he can do. He's not going to be out drinking or partying, anything like that. So maybe we're going to see a brand new Jake Matthews now, but I do have to I still have to go with Michael Morales. I just think that wrestling edge is going to really, he's going to have such a big advantage there. If he doesn't though, if he shows some low to fight IQ and maybe wrestles a bit too late, maybe Jake just toasts him up a little bit with the body shots. That is something Jake does really good. He was mixing to the body a lot against Darius Flowers, so that could be work to his advantage here. Maybe chop up the leg of Morales because he is so tall, stands up so straight. I haven't seen him check kicks before either. I don't think. I might be wrong on that, but he's got a good shot here. But still, I have to go with Michael Morales, like I say. But I'm rooting for Jake here, of course. I'm always going to root for the Aussies, but I can't pick who I want to win. I have to pick who I think is going to win, and yeah, like I say, that person is Michael Morales. Then moving on up the card, we go to the main event, which is Brendan Allen versus Paul Berju Craig. You know, this is a very middleweight fight, if I do say so. What do I mean by that? We're probably going to see Paul Craig get a fucking KO, or we're going to see Brendan Allen sub him, because something weird is going to happen in this fight. It's very middleweight type fight. Like, this is one of those fights where something weird's going to happen. And, oh man, every time I think about this fight, I keep going back and forth with what I'm going to pick. Like, I still haven't fully picked. Like, everything is telling me that Brendan Allen should go out there and just KO Paul Craig on the feet early. But let's be honest. Let's be honest. Brendan Allen has some really low fight IQ. You know, he tries to bang it out with Chris Curtis, tries to bang it out with Sean Strickland. Never, like, he gets very cocky on the feet. He puts his tongue out and then gets hit up, you know, smiles and gets all cocky on the feet. I think I can see a scenario here where he tries to grapple Paul Craig as a point, you know, gets all cocky and everything, and then I can just see him getting caught in a submission. So maybe I'm going to be taking a big risk here, and I could see myself being wrong here, but I'm going to take Paul Craig. I know that is crazy. Brendan Allen has been looking really great lately. But I don't know, man. Something's just telling me we're at the point where Brendan Allen's going to make a stupid mistake and probably get fucking chinned, if we're being honest. because he always finds a way to get chinned. Like, Sean Strickland's not really the most powerful guy, and he flatlined Brendan Allen. Like, Brendan Allen does have a sort of a sus chin, but, Paul Craig's not the greatest striker. But I did really like I liked his performance over Andre Muniz more than I like Brendan Allen's. Uh, Paul Craig was arguably doing better on the feet than Brendan Allen did. Brendan Allen was getting pieced up by Andre Muniz. It was really fucking weird to see in that fight. Like, he was generally getting pieced up. Like, when has Andre Muniz ever pieced anybody up? Like, Brendan Allen's striking sort of regressed. I mean, against Bruno Silva, it did look better, but Bruno Silva, against strikers, looks like one of the best strikers in the middleweight division. But then against grapplers, he looks like fucking Ben Askren. Like, not literally, but like, his fucking striking regresses so much against strikers. Like, he always gets clipped. He gets clipped against GM3, gets clipped against Brendan Allen. I think even Andrew Sanchez was actually up like 2 rounds before Bruno Silva KO'd him. So, yeah, definitely a weird fighter is Bruno Silva. Grapplers are just his kryptonite. Obviously, he loses to strikers too, but like, his striking always looks really regressed against grapplers. So I'm not going to rate Allen's striking too great, just because the takedown threat's there. Paul Craig doesn't have to worry about a takedown threat because he wants to get taken down. So maybe we're going to see the best Paul Craig when it comes to the striking, because I could see him catching. He's not got the greatest chin either, but I could see him actually catching Brendan Allen. I could just see Brendan Allen getting too cocky and then getting caught with like a 1-2. Yeah, man, I got to go with Paul Craig. If I don't pick Paul Craig and he wins, I'm going to feel like an idiot. At least this way, I'm not going to feel like an absolute idiot. So, yeah, so this is how I think it's going to go. I think Brendan Allen's going to be having a lot of success, and then he's going to go like for a joke. He's going to go for a takedown. He's going to be smiling on top, like laughing at Paul Craig, and then Paul Craig's just going to snatch up his arm or some shit, or snatch up a triangle, and he's just going to fucking choke him. He's going to strangle Brendan Allen. I just see this fucking happening. Or Brendan Allen takes him down and gets like reversed, and then we see Paul Craig just like sort of fucking pound him out. Brendan Allen's got really bad takedown defense as well. It's not like amazing takedown defense. He's a grappler, but his takedown defense, he's been taken down a lot. Jacob Malkoun does have really good takedowns. It's the best part of his game. He is just a fucking takedown machine. But he's getting taken down a lot. Paul Craig's very fucking big for middleweight. He could offensively wrestle here, and, he could have some success. I wouldn't be opposed. He is a lot stronger as a middleweight than he is a light heavyweight. I could see him actually getting down Brendan Allen, and I don't really think Brendan Allen has anything for Paul Craig off his back. I know he's a good grappler, but Paul Craig might just fucking ground and pound him out, if we're being honest. Yeah, the more I'm thinking about this, the more confident I'm feeling with this pick of Paul Craig. Yeah, he can just go in there and get fucking chinned. It's definitely a possibility. But I am going to take Paul Craig here. I think I could actually see him making a run at middleweight. I know that sounds crazy, but like, look at the guys he lost to at middleweight. Like, he lost to fucking Johnny Walker. Massive guy. Couldn't make middleweight if he fucking cut off his leg. Then Volkan Oezdemir. I think he actually fought at heavyweight before. He's a big guy. Like, he's now fighting guys his own size. And in my opinion, light heavyweight guys, like, I know normally the heavier divisions aren't as skilled, but I actually think light heavyweights are a bit more skilled than middleweights, especially in the grappling. So I'm feeling pretty confident about this pick the more I'm saying it. I know I could definitely be wrong, and Brendan Allen could just go chin him, but he looked alright chin wise. I know it's Andre Muniz, but he was taking some decent shots. Didn't get rocked like he does against other opponents. I think middleweight was the division for him, man. I think his middleweight is his home, and I am going to take Paul Craig here. I could be completely wrong. Paul Craig, very inconsistent fighter. But, he's an underdog here, and when Paul Craig's an underdog, he's a dangerous man. So I am going to take Paul Craig here. It could definitely be fucking very wrong here, but I like this fight for him. Brendan Allen always makes very, very dumb mistakes at times. I just see him having some success on the feet. just getting so overconfident and getting caught. It doesn't leave my mind. It's all I imagine in this fight. I can just see the smirk that Brendan Allen will make, and then just getting fucking caught. And I can see the disappointed look he'll have as he's got his arms folded, looking down at the floor. I don't know why. I've just envisioned this fight so fucking much. So yeah, I'm gonna take the Scotsman here. I'm gonna take the Bear Jew. I'm gonna take Paul Craig. I think he's gonna get this one done. And yeah, this should be a good card. I know on paper it doesn't have like the biggest name value, but I think these fights stylistically should be really fun. So I think this is going to be a really good card. And yeah, I'm pumped for it, man. I'm looking forward to it. Should be really interesting, but yeah, some really good fights on here. Be interesting though. If Brendan Allen wins, you got to give him like a fucking top 10 opponent, top 5 opponent at this point, because he is on a good win streak. And I know Paul Craig was calling for Israel Adesanya. Could you imagine if Paul Craig like beat Brendan Allen and then just like fucking broke Adesanya's arm or something like that? That'd be a fucking crazy timeline. But yeah, like I said, I'm gonna go with Brendan Allen here. But no, I'm not. I'm not gonna go. I'm going with Paul Craig. Sorry, I'm gonna be going with Paul Craig here. Moderate confidence. Moderate confidence. I could see him. He can offensively wrestle here. Brennan Allen gets real confident, cocky on the feet. I could see him actually catching him. I know Paul Craig's not got the greatest striking, but he does hit hard. And he is working a lot on his striking. Every fight he does seem a bit more improved. Like, I don't know. There's just so many ways that Paul Craig can win this. Obviously, Brennan Allen could just go out there and chin him, but I'm going to take Paul Craig, like I say. So yeah, they're all my picks for the card. So yeah, if you made it this far into the video, make sure you give it a like. It's fucking hell. I've been talking non-stop for 46 minutes. My throat's starting to hurt a little bit. So yeah, thanks for watching. And yeah, make sure you, if you're not already, subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next video. And let me know your predictions in the comments below. I want to know who you guys are picking for these fights. And yeah, like I say, I apologize this video is so long, but you know, I had to give my long fucking hell, and I like practically skipped two of the women fights too when this video was that long. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I talked for a while. Do you imagine if I gave like a full analysis for fucking the two women fights on this card? Fucking hell, this would be like an hour long. But yeah, unprofessional, I know, but I don't care. So yeah, thank you for watching. And yeah, let me know your predictions in the comments. Let me know, specifically, let me know who you got for the main event. But yeah, that's all I've got to say. So yeah, thank you for watching. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you. Cheerio. Adios. Amigos. Bye.